My fiancé looked me dead in the eye over our half-eaten Thai takeout and said, "Babe, I need to tell you something. Rachel and I cuddle sometimes during lunch breaks. It's completely platonic, just two friends decompressing. If you don't get it, that's a you problem." I'm Natalie. I'm 34, and 3 months ago, I thought I had my life figured out. Dream job at a tech startup in Austin, a charming fiancé named Derek who made me laugh until my stomach hurt, and a wedding plan for next spring at this gorgeous vineyard outside Fredericksburg. We were that couple, the ones who finished each other's sentences, who had inside jokes about everything from The Office to our neighbor's yappy Pomeranian named Taco. But that Thursday night in October, sitting in our apartment with the AC rattling like it always did, watching him casually drop the word cuddle like he was discussing the weather, something shifted. The fairy lights we'd strung up for ambiance suddenly felt like they were mocking me, twinkling away while my brain tried to process what he'd just said. "Wait," I managed, setting down my pad thai. You cuddle? With Rachel? Your work wife, Rachel?" "My work wife, yeah." He said it so easily, scooping up more noodles. "It's not weird, Nat. Lots of work spouses have physical touch as their love language. We're just really close." Before we dive deeper into this absolute dumpster fire, do me a favor. If you've ever had someone tell you something so absurd you questioned your own sanity, hit that like button, drop a comment telling you where you're watching from, and if work-wife cuddling sounds remotely normal to you. And subscribe, because trust me, this gets so much worse. Let me rewind 6 months. That's when Rachel started at Derek's company, some boutique marketing firm in downtown Austin where everyone drank kombucha and had standing desks. Derek came home that first week talking about this amazing new colleague who got all his references, loved the same indie bands, and had this incredible energy. "She's like the work version of you," he'd said, kissing my forehead. "You two would totally be friends." Red flag number one, right? But I trusted him. We'd been together for 4 years. He'd never given me a reason to doubt him. So when he started mentioning Rachel daily, Rachel said this hilarious thing in the meeting. Rachel brought homemade cookies. Rachel suggested this great lunch spot. I swallowed my discomfort. I told myself I was being that girlfriend, the insecure one who couldn't handle her man having female friends. My best friend Jenna wasn't buying it. We were at Barton Springs one Saturday in early September, trying to catch the last bits of summer when I mentioned Derek's new work wife situation. "Work wife is one thing," Jenna said, adjusting her sunglasses. "But he talks about her more than he talks about his actual job. That's different." "They're just close colleagues," I defended. "It's healthy to have work friendships." "Girl," Jenna sat up, dead serious. "My work husband and I share memes and grab coffee. I don't know, develop some weird emotional codependency. Does Derek even talk about his other coworkers?" She had a point. I couldn't name a single other person from his office except Rachel. Then came the company events. First was the summer barbecue at Zilker Park. Derek insisted I come meet everyone, especially Rachel. "You two are going to hit it off," he kept saying. Rachel was fine, pretty in that effortless way. Long dark hair, vintage band tees, those trendy mom jeans that somehow looked cool on her. She was friendly enough, laughing at my jokes, complimenting my sundress. But there was something in how she and Derek interacted. Little touches on his arm, inside jokes I wasn't part of. At one point, they wandered off to grab drinks and were gone for 20 minutes while I made awkward small talk with Gary from accounting about his fantasy football league. "Sorry, babe," he said when they finally returned, both laughing about something. "We got distracted talking about that new Childish Gambino album." "I texted you," I said quietly. "Oh, must not have heard it." He kissed my cheek. "You having fun?" I wasn't. But I smiled and nodded, because what was I going to say? Your work friendship makes me uncomfortable? That sounded crazy, even in my head. August bled into September. Derek started staying late at the office more. Big project, he'd explain. Rachel and I are really in the zone. They'd grab dinner after work sometimes. Just team bonding stuff. He'd come home smelling like that trendy ramen place on South Congress, full of stories about their conversations about philosophy, music, childhood traumas. She gets me on this level, you know? Like, we have this really deep connection, he said one night, scrolling through his phone in bed. I'm really lucky to have found someone like that at work. Makes the daily grind so much better. Someone like that. Not something. Someone. The cuddling confession came out of nowhere. Or maybe it didn't. Maybe there'd been 1,000 tiny moments building to it, and I'd been too busy trying to be the cool girlfriend to notice. How long has this been happening? I asked, my Thai food forgotten. Derek shrugged. Maybe a month? We have these stressful days, and sometimes we just need to decompress. There's this couch in the wellness room. The wellness room? I laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. You're cuddling your coworker in the workplace wellness room? It's not sexual, Nat. Jesus. He set down his fork, irritated now. We're fully clothed. We just lay there and talk. Sometimes we don't even talk. It's comforting. Platonic intimacy is a real thing. With your work wife. Why are you making this weird? Why am I stood up, needing space. Our apartment suddenly felt tiny. Derek, you're cuddling with another woman and telling me if I have a problem with it, that's my issue? Because it is. He stood too, defensive. This is about your insecurity, not my actions. Rachel and I have a beautiful, pure friendship. There's zero romantic feelings involved. We've actually talked about it. You've talked about it? About whether you have feelings? Yes, we wanted to make sure we were on the same page about boundaries. Very mature, actually. I stared at this man I thought I knew. His blonde hair was getting long the way I liked it. He was wearing the Longhorn shirt I'd bought him for his birthday. He looked the same, but standing in our kitchen, defending cuddling sessions with Rachel, he was suddenly a stranger. What would you do, I said slowly, if I told you I was cuddling with my male coworker every day? That's different. How? Because, he fumbled, Jake from your office is clearly into you. This is different. Jake is gay and engaged. You know what I mean. Look, Rachel and I have something special. It's rare to find that kind of connection. I'm not going to apologize for having a deep friendship just because society has weird hang-ups about male-female platonic intimacy. He was turning this around, making me feel like the problem. And the scary part? For a second, it was working. Maybe I was being possessive. Maybe this was some enlightened form of friendship I was too traditional to understand. Then my phone buzzed. Jenna, dinner tomorrow? Need to hear how the parents' meeting went. Right. Derek's parents. They'd visited last weekend from Houston, and Derek had spent the entire Sunday brunch talking about Rachel. Rachel introduced me to this podcast. Rachel has the funniest take on that. And Rachel suggested this great lunch spot. His mom had raised her eyebrows at me, silently asking if I was okay with this. And Rachel has the funniest take on that. And had this incredible energy. I'd smiled and changed the subject. I need some air, I told Derek. Nah, come on. I just need to think. I grabbed my keys and walked out into the humid Austin night. October here isn't like October up north. It was still 75 degrees, the air thick. I drove without direction, ending up at the 24-hour coffee shop on Manor Road, where I sometimes worked on weekends. My phone lit up. Derek, I love you. I'm sorry if I upset you. Can we talk about this? Then, 30 seconds later, Rachel just texted asking if I'm okay. She could tell something was off today. She's really intuitive like that. I nearly threw my phone across the cafe. The next 2 weeks were tense. Derek agreed to take a step back from Rachel, which apparently meant no more cuddling, but still daily coffee breaks, lunches, and constant texting. I tried to let it go. I really did. But then I noticed his phone habits. He'd never been secretive before, but now he'd angle it away when texting. He'd smile at messages and not tell me what they said. Once, I walked into the bathroom while he was in the shower, and his phone on the counter lit up. Rachel, missing our talks today. Blue heart. Platonic. Surely. I met Jenna for happy hour at Whistler's. She took one look at me and ordered us both mezcal. He's still talking to her constantly, I said, twirling my straw, and now he's being all secretive about it. Natalie. Jenna grabbed my hand. I'm going to say something, and I need you to really hear me. Emotional affairs are real. They're sometimes worse than physical ones. It's not an affair, isn't it? He's sharing intimate moments with another woman. He's prioritizing her feelings. He's developing inside jokes and deep connections with her instead of deepening his connection with you. That's emotional infidelity. But he says there's no romantic feelings. Of course he does. That's what people always say right up until they realize they're in love with the other person. I wanted to argue, but I couldn't. Because deep down, I knew. I knew something was deeply wrong. I knew Derek had checked out of our relationship emotionally, even if he hadn't physically. What do I do? I whispered. You need to draw a hard line. Either he cuts off this inappropriate relationship or you're done. No more stepping back, no more setting boundaries, complete separation from Rachel outside of necessary work interactions. He'll say I'm being controlling. Then he's not the man you thought he was. That night, I tried. I sat Derek down, turned off the TV, made it clear this was serious. I need you to end this friendship with Rachel. Not just the cuddling. The whole dynamic. It's not healthy and it's destroying our relationship. Derek's face hardened. You're asking me to give up my best friend? I'm asking you to prioritize your fiancé. Is this an ultimatum? Yes. He was quiet for a long time. Too long. When someone has to think about whether they choose you over their work wife, you already have your answer. I can't do that, he finally said. Rachel is important to me. Our friendship is important. I'm not going to let your jealousy destroy something beautiful. Beautiful, I repeated numbly. Yes, what we have is rare, Nat. Can't you see that? She understands parts of me that... He stopped. That I don't? I finished. Go ahead, say it. That's not what I meant. But it's what you're thinking. When did it happen, Derek? When did you fall for her? I'm not in love with Rachel. Then why are you choosing her over me? Silence. Heavy, awful silence. I need to think, he said finally. This isn't fair, you forcing me to choose. What's not fair is you emotionally cheating on me for months and making me feel crazy for noticing. I went to our bedroom and locked the door. Through the thin walls, I heard him grab his keys and leave. 20 minutes later, my phone lit up with a text from him. At Rachel's. Need to clear my head. Don't wait up. At Rachel's. I called Jenna, sobbing so hard I could barely speak. Pack a bag, she said immediately. You're staying with me. Derek came home the next morning with coffee and apology croissants from our favorite bakery. His eyes were red. He'd been crying too. I'm so sorry, he said. I was an ass. You're right. I've been prioritizing Rachel over you, and that's not okay. Hope fluttered weakly in my chest. So you'll end it? I'll create better boundaries? No more one-on-one hangouts outside work, no more constant texting. I'll be more present with you. Derek, that's not... Nat, please. I can't just cut her out completely. We work together. We're on the same projects. But I can be more mindful. He grabbed my hands. I love you. I want to marry you. Let me prove that. I was exhausted. I wanted to believe him. So I nodded. For a week, things were better. Derek came home on time, we cooked together, watched movies, had sex like we used to. He barely mentioned Rachel. I started to think maybe we'd turned a corner. Then came the company retreat. It's mandatory, Derek explained. 3 days in Marble Falls, team building stuff. I can't skip it. Rachel will be there. Yes, but so will 15 other people. It's not like we'll be alone. Every instinct screamed not to let him go. But what could I say? Don't go to your work retreat because I don't trust you around your coworker? That felt insane. Okay, I said. Just please remember who you're coming home to. He kissed me deeply. Always. The retreat was Thursday through Saturday. Derek texted periodically, photos of the lake, complaints about trust fall exercises, a picture of his disappointing conference center dinner. Normal stuff. I tried to relax. Saturday evening, he was supposed to be home by 8. 8 came and went. 9, 10. His phone went to voicemail. At 10:47 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Hi, is this Natalie? This is Stephanie. I work with Derek. I got your number from his emergency contacts in the company directory. My blood went cold. Is he okay? He's fine, physically, but, I think you should know what happened tonight, at the retreat. My apartment disappeared. There was only her voice and the pounding of my heart. We had a bonfire, and everyone was drinking. Derek and Rachel they were sitting really close, holding hands. A few of us were uncomfortable, but figured, work spouses or whatever. But then Derek went to his cabin, and 20 minutes later, Rachel went to the same cabin, and they didn't come back out. For hours. I couldn't breathe. I'm so sorry, she continued. I didn't know if I should tell you, but if it were me, I'd want to know. My friend peeked in the window around midnight. I know that's creepy, but we were worried. And they were in bed together. She couldn't tell if anything was happening, but they were definitely in the same bed. Thank you, I whispered. Thank you for telling me. I hung up and sat in the dark living room, surrounded by all our stuff. The photos of us at ACL, the silly coffee mugs we'd collected, the engagement picture his mom had framed for us, the plant he insisted on buying even though we both had black thumbs, somehow still alive. All of it was a lie. Derek came home at 11:30, stumbling and clearly drunk. Hey, babe. Sorry I'm late. Lost track of time. Were you with Rachel? He froze. In the dim light from the street, I watched his face cycle through emotions. Surprise, fear, calculation. We were just talking. In your cabin? In your bed? It's not what it looks like. What does it look like, Derek, when you share a bed with your work wife while your actual fiancé sits at home trusting you? Nothing happened. I don't believe you. The words exploded out of me. All the months of swallowing my discomfort, of letting him feel me feel crazy, of being the cool girlfriend who didn't make waves. "We just cuddled," he shouted back, "like we always do. We were drunk and sad because the retreat was ending and we realized how much we were going to miss each other every day." And he stopped, realizing what he had said. "You were sad you'd miss her." I laughed bitterly and broken. "Not me. Her." "Nat, get out. This is my apartment too. Get out. Go to her place, since that's clearly where you want to be." That was 6 weeks ago. Derek moved out 2 days later, not to Rachel's place, he claimed, but to his buddy's couch. The wedding's postponed indefinitely. I told our families it was mutual because I couldn't stomach explaining that my fiancé chose his work wife. Here's what I learned. He swears nothing physical happened. Maybe it didn't. Maybe they really were just cuddling. But it doesn't matter. He still chose her over me, again and again. He still shared intimacy with her that should have been reserved for us. He still gaslighted me into thinking my discomfort was the problem. Rachel texted me once, a long message about how sorry she was, how she never meant for things to get complicated, how their friendship just evolved. I blocked her without responding. Derek texts every few days. "I miss you. Can we talk? I made a mistake. Last week, Rachel and I are just friends. I realized you're the one I want." Too little, too late. Jenna thinks I should feel vindicated. "You were right all along," she says. But I don't feel vindicated. I feel stupid for not trusting my gut sooner, for letting him make me question my own reality, for believing that love meant accepting behavior that made me miserable. The engagement ring sits in my jewelry box. Some days I think about selling it. Other days I think about throwing it in Lady Bird Lake. Mostly I just leave it there. A reminder that sometimes the person you love most becomes someone you don't recognize at all. My coworker, Jake, yes, the gay engaged one Derek was somehow threatened by, told me something wise last week. Anyone who makes you feel crazy for having normal boundaries isn't someone you should build a life with. He's right. I know he's right. But knowing it doesn't make the late nights easier, doesn't fill the Derek-shaped hole in my apartment, doesn't stop me from seeing couples at Central Market and wondering if they're hiding work wives too, doesn't answer the question that haunts me: was I ever enough for him? Or was he always looking for something more, something I couldn't give him? I don't have answers. Just a lease I can barely afford alone, a postponed wedding venue that's not refunding my deposit, and a hard-won understanding that platonic cuddling is apparently code for "I'm falling for someone else but don't want to admit it yet." So yeah, if your partner ever tells you they cuddle with their work spouse and you don't get it, that's a you problem. Run. Run fast, run far. Because I didn't, and now I'm 34, single, and trying to figure out how to trust anyone ever again. So that's my story. If you made it this far, I need to know I'm not alone in thinking this whole situation was bonkers. Drop a comment. Have you ever dealt with a work spouse situation? Am I crazy for thinking cuddling crosses a line? And if you think Derek and Rachel were obviously having an emotional affair, hit that like button so I feel less insane. Subscribe for more stories that'll make you question humanity's audacity. And seriously, turn on notifications because apparently I attract chaos. Where are you watching from? Let me know.